Greetings, fellow youth leaders, school YMCs, RECs, and members of the clergy. My name's Richie, and I'm the Youth and Young Adults Coordinator at All Saints Parish, Liverpool. And first off, I'd just like to thank you all for coming along tonight to the Awaken Leaders launch. For giving up, your time. Today, you could be with your family, you could be out partying, I'm not sure what you're doing, you could be praying, but you've decided to come here, and that small sacrifice is really a big, significant step towards how we can strategize and how we can evangelize to young people in Western Sydney. So I'm here tonight just to give you some practicalities on what Awaken would look like and what it isn't. So to me, in a practical sense, with this event that we're planning in November, when you think of an event or festival, the first thought that comes to your mind is you think, oh, cool, it's a concert that's catered to, young people from year 7 to year 12. And I guess there's a truth to it. But I think one thing, that we can really work on as an Awaken group is that we can offer, an event that caters to both youth and young adults. And just, an example that comes on top of my head, person, from the church, they really enjoyed going to the concerts and, finding God through worship, and it was awesome. So they already have that personal relationship with Jesus. But then I guess the other question is, what's next? Is that the end of my faith journey? And as Catholics, we know that, we have the beauty of our Catholic tradition. So we're quite blessed as young adults to be able to have opportunities to receive formation through catechesis and Bible study and etc. etc. So I think, what would be great, and that's why we have you young adult leaders here with us today, is so if we can figure out, once these young people build a connection with Jesus, in their youth, how do we really walk alongside them? How do we get them to animate their faith? And I guess this is where an idea of, having, young adults catechesis, can be very beneficial, especially, going forward as a community. One of the second points I wanted to address is that Awaken is really a platform for local talent. And what do I mean by local talent? Usually when we facilitate events, we kind of financially fish around for international superstars, where we actually have talented youth leaders and young adults in our area from our own backyard. And just an example that comes on top of my head, if you think of a man like Tommy Francisco, a man that's devoted to God, he's devoted to his trade, he really loves music, and that's his way of worship. And I guess as a community, as a man that comes from Bankstown, we can support him by providing him that platform, and he can be a person, he can be a face that the young people in Western City can look up to and say, I want to be like him. He's a man from my community, and I really look up to him. And, one day in the future, that could be me. Now, another example is you can look at Lenita Abuchabake, a woman that, struggled through life, a woman that comes from our community. And now she's a motivational speaker. And, as a supportive community, we can provide her that platform. And once again, people can look up to her, and she can be a role model for people. And she can be that role model of Christ to others. And, I can even speak about, the leadership team that we have at Awaken, and it just gives our young people an opportunity to be inspired, by those who are in front of them. And we can really invest in what we have. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. we already have people, that are at that level and that can really influence the generation that we have. Another point about what Awaken is I think Awaken is really an initiative that reflects the needs of our region. And I guess that's why we have you here today, because we want to hear your ideas and your thoughts, because we don't want to assume that we know what young people want, but it's through having dialogue with you that we're able to understand what our region really needs. Now, for example, we've got a couple of parishes in our region that specialize in primary school ministry. So that might say to us, hey, we might have to have an Awaken Kids Day. That's just one example, but we really want to reflect or mirror what's actually happening in our region, in our parishes. And that brings me to my last point of what Awaken looks like in a practical sense. And that is that Awaken is a supportive initiative for parish ministry. So obviously we're going to get young people or young adults, where Awaken might be that first step in their journey to knowing who Jesus is. And the only way they're going to grow is if we refer them to a parish community. So, we have people running primary school, high school, young adult ministries, on a weekly, fortnightly or monthly basis. As you know, with all events, World Youth Day, ACYF, and Awaken's no different. You can only evangelize, once every couple of months. But it's actually going through the parish community, the parish life, and going through parish ministries that these people will be, nourished on a more regular basis. So really Awaken is here to really build upon parish ministry and to make sure that, the parish exists in these young people's lives. And, this year we're really excited to work with deans and to work with schools, to really strengthen, that evangelization and that mission that we have as Awaken. Now, one thing I want to be really clear about, and that's something that Awaken isn't. So Awaken isn't going to be some place where we actually poach youth leaders and take all their time, because what's really important in our region is having, youth leaders in their own parishes, running their weekly, monthly, fortnightly ministries. So, if Awaken or deanery ministry is strong, it's a reflection of what's happening in parish ministry. So once again, hopefully that was something that's a bit helpful, and hopefully that will help facilitate what's going to happen in the discussion time. Really appreciate you listening to me. God bless you, and hopefully we'll see you at the next meeting. Peace.